cilmate. Okay. So just go straight in, nice and slow, clear, with the first Suburi. Finding the back, cutting down. Calm, clear movements. Oh. Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay, good. So one thing to work on with the form is again the sense of whole body movement. So when you do the movement now, focus on the whole body making the cut. Yeah, and just take the focus to everything we've been kind of looking at this week is this structure from ground, hips to hands, and just really kind of emphasize that kind of order of using the system. And really the first Suburi is, I think, one of the clearest places to train it. So because I'm not going anywhere and I'm just focusing on a very simple movement, just one arm this way, then you can really go deep into that kind of structure. And eventually what you're looking for, once you kind of coordinate the whole body, what you're really looking for is a sense of waving through the movement. So from the center, have a sense of kind of waving through the cut. So the whole body forms a kind of elastic connection through the weapon. So, yeah, so just kind of prioritize that structure. And in this case, because it's a very simple movement, you can really go into it deeply. So just kind of work on that. So now just take this to Zengo Giri. So cutting front and back. Raise. The first one, find the back, and then just rotating, cutting down. Rotating, cutting down. Again, focusing on the ground, to the hips, to the hand. Especially on the rotation move as well. So really connect the rotation. Connect the rotation from the hip. Yeah, give it a try. Zengo, giri.
As.
So. Nice. Good. Okay, good. And then just go into the second Suburi. The picture's clear enough here. It's okay. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So from here, rolling back. You take your time, pause here, find the back. Keep really a sense of opening out that you have in the first Suburi. So here, opening the shoulders, cutting down now. So rolling back, rolling in. Really emphasize the opening of the hips and then the pressing in of the hips here with the ground. Yeah, give it a try. Second Suburi.
As.
Ay. Ay.
Oh.
Camera down. Camera down. Nice, great. Yeah, good. So now in this case, the kind of this flexibility in the connection. Ooh, spotlight 1 second. The flexibility in the connection. Try and find now here the sense of the center pressing the ground, and then the cut kind of being placed into this. So the impact of the cut is going to be grounded in the hip work. So the hips are kind of grounding, and then the hands come into it. And try and avoid in this case kind of the hips and the hands kind of working together or landing at the same time. What you want is the weight to be landing and then the impact coming from this. So you want the cut to be grounding into the center work. So try and have the feeling of pressing the center into the hip just a fraction before the cut so that the cut has something to ground into. So in a sense, the hips are pressing in and then the cut comes into that. Yeah, try that. So this is in a sense for the flexible connection. Works this way. Give the cut something to land into. Nice. Yeah, good. Nice, nice, nice.
Michael?
Yeah?
Serena, can I just see what your arms look like when it's above your head?
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't know whether my arm should be in front of my head or on the side or...
Yeah. So in this case, this way, you can see. Yeah. In this case, the hands, I'm trying to show something here. The hands are like this, right in front of the head. As a general guide, I don't usually give like specifics because it's kind of about your own personal body. But in this case, it's about the front hand, the left hand. It's about a fist and a half between my forehead here, and this hand is just above my head this way. So this part of my hand, just above my head this way. You see how this part of the hand just fits into the top of the head, kind of the same shape. So it's just right above the head, and this one's about a fist and a half in between, something like that. Use that as a kind of general guide. But the sword is right down my center line, and it's not kind of twisting out, and it's not to the side of the head. It's right down the center of the body. This way. Yeah, give it a try.
Okay,
So
thank
it really
you.
follows the center line of the body. Nice. Good. Nice. Okay, so just go to the third Suburi now. So in three steps, here. Now you're raising to the side this way. Follow the center line. Sink the back hips. Open the hips out. And then using the top of the head, raising and cutting down this way. So in 3 steps, 1, back, and 3 this way. That's still Shomanuchi work. So raising with an in-breath, compressing the breath down, and then expelling the breath out at the end. Yeah, give it a try. The third Suburi.
Yes. Oh.
Al.
Oh.
Al.
Oh.
Al.
Oh. Oh.
Al.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh. 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 Oh.
So really, if we go to a kind of feeling level with this, the feeling in when you come to this position of stretching up, and then the feeling is like compressing down, like a loading a spring. My kind of feeling image in this case is like loading a spring into the legs, so pressing it down. Imagining both legs like 2 coils, pressing them down, and then as I get to a kind of ultimate compression, I kind of spring out and release it. So you can imagine, in this case, a sense of compressing down, loading a spring, and then springing out of it this way. Yeah, and the compression will kind of press you out of the ground in a way like a 100-meter sprinter. You get to kind of maximum tension or compression, really compression, and then you kind of spring forward from it. Yeah, give it a try. So you're converting downwards potential energy into forwards. kind of explosive, springing movement.
Marcel, I've got a question again, please. When you're cutting, is that the same as the second Suburi, where you've got your hip and then you're allowing the bokken to actually land onto something?
Yeah, actually the same dynamic as the second Suburi. So yeah, in this case, you're coming down. Here I want the hips to kind of land into the ground, and then the center to follow, and then the arms to follow. It's got this kind of structure. So from here, in this case, the arms are raising up here, and then press into the ground this way. Yeah, so it's got the same kind of dynamic. Think of the Suburi 1, 2, 3. They're really like a progression. So you first learn to really find the down in the first Suburi, and the second movement you're advancing with a step, and then the third movement you're practicing kind of a real compression down and then springing forward out of it. So that in this case, they're a kind of progression of ways to use the kind of energy in this way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But they build on each other. Good. Okay, so we go into the fourth Suburi. We go straight into it. So do 3 or 4 cuts depending on your space, or 2. The first one, find the back like the first Suburi, cutting down. Now all you can do is advance each time, find the back, and cut down with a shoman. Find the back, cutting down. When you reach the end, rotate, cut. Find the back, cut down. Back, cut down. So each time in the cut, really reach the back. Open the movement out. Reach the back. Open the movement out. So keep the shoulders free during the movement. So when you're in movement in the step, the shoulders should be very free, very loose. Go ahead. Good, Roland. Good, keep going. Good. Nice. Yeah, great. Very nice. Good. So in terms of the handwork and the footwork, later this is developed in the fifth Suburi more. This sense of scissoring with the hand. Again, it's a dynamic you learn in the first Suburi. So when I'm in movement, the hands are loose, and when I cut, the hands are tightening, focusing on the weapon. But during the movements, the hands are actually very loose on the weapon. So I'm not gripping the weapon tightly in this way. If I grip the weapon tightly, it draws all my energy up again. So when I'm in motion with the weapon, even at this point, my hands are quite free on the weapon, quite relaxed, just kind of pressure into the sword. But as soon as I'm in movement, the hands are very relaxed. Yeah. So practice in this way. The center kind of scissoring into the cut, so the hands are open, and then they compress into the weapon. Open, press. Yeah. But that pressure with the hand or the focus is kind of very momentary. Kind of here, and then I release it. Here, release it. Here, release. Yeah, so there's a kind of compression with the hands as well into the weapon, or kind of focusing. There's a kind of focus, release, focus, release, focus, release in this way. Yeah, give it a try. Nice. That's it. Very nice. Good. Super. Oh, okay, good. And this one more point about this. Again, it's focused a bit more on the Suburi, but the first 1, 2, 3, they're really as if you're on the spot. So even though you're advancing in 2 and 3, you're taking a step. The feeling's as if you're kind of on the spot. In this case, this is really have the feeling of advancing forward. So in this case, have a sense of the extension out from the weapon. So keep all the same feelings of being grounded down. All the focus is primarily down, but also now focus a little bit on the energy. My focus coming out. So my extension goes beyond the weapon now. So my feeling goes beyond the sword. Yeah, so focus now a little bit on extension out. 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 Yeah, so send your mind out from the sword. It's kind of beyond the cut this way. Which is why it helps sometimes to focus out on something else. So here, out. Yeah, beyond the sword. Yeah, give it a try. Yeah. Nice. Okay, good. So number 5. This is the Suburi we practice a lot because we use it a lot later. All the partner work uses the Fitsuburi. So this movement, this yokomen movement, is the one we use most often in the partner work, especially the kumitachi. So we'll spend a lot of time on this one now. Yokomenuchi from the back foot, striking down with the yokomen. Striking down with the yokomen. This way. Yeah, so now opening the cut out, opening the back hip a little bit more, and allowing the sword to travel in a diagonal movement. Okay, so yokomenuchi. And again, do 2 or 3. Yeah. When you make the rotation, this cuts a shomanuchi. So find a straight cut. Continue with the yokomen. This way. This way. Yeah, give it a try. Yokomenuchi. A slight diagonal attack.
Michael,
The change to come from the hip. Yeah.
your first cut, is it the same as for the fourth Suburi?
No, in this case, I go straight into yokomen.
You go straight in.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this.
Yeah.
So for number 4, yeah, you start with as if you're doing number 1.
Yeah.
And number 5 just comes straight from the back leg.
Okay.
Yeah, it's straight into a yokomen.
Thanks.
When you make the turn, your showman cut, do you find the back?
No. In
No.
that case, yeah, just go for the head. So. Good. So this work of the hands scissoring, kind of scissoring on the hands, in the handwork, where they're going to be free again. So this one's the hardest because I'm doing a slightly complicated movement. My tendency is to grip to the sword and kind of cling into it and kind of rely on it this way, and this creates a kind of tension in the shoulder. So just practice a kind of softness in the movement this way. So forget about doing a cut and just go through a kind of movement like this. So just focus on the hands, a kind of opening, and I'm going to keep the hands open in this case. But don't think about doing a cut, just think about moving the sword around the hip. So you're actually doing exactly the same dynamic as you do here. It's just a more complicated movement with the hip. So it's a circular movement, but just now allow the sword to pass through the body. Pass through the body. Yeah, so it's still passing on the center line, but the hip allows the sword to pass in a kind of diagonal way. So very loose with the hand. Just allow the sword to move in this way. Yeah, just keep it very loose. Give it a try.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, that's it. Good. Nice. Good. So now just go back to the cut. But really now in the sense of scissoring that and then impacting. Yeah. So again, the hands are gonna during the movement, they're open and then I close them. So there's an opening and then a tightening. Opening and a tightening. So each hand does a different thing. So try and find out what the hand is doing. They each work individually, but in the end they come together. So this works. This works. So you can see the hands are free and then they work together. Work together. Work together. Together. Yeah, give it a try. So this kind of opening, closing with the hands. Now with the cut. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh. Hey. Good. Okay, good. So we now use 5 as a base for 6 and 7. So number 6 is the ski for the same. In this case, 6 and 7, they start with Jodan Kamai, like in the second Suburi. So here you find the cut, and then from the back foot pressing, find the thrust. Find the Yokomen, the same side, press in and thrust. Cut down one side, thrust the same side. Yokomen, ski. Here, here. Yokomen, ski. Yeah, give it a try.
Michael?
Yeah.
The first cut right after Jodan, is it Shomen cut or Yokomen cut?
You can do both actually. So in this case, you can work it as a Yokomen.
Okay.
Try it as both. The Shomen's easier, but you can actually go into Yokomen.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Also, you can also do this by just coming from the front foot. So from here, the same as you do in number 1, but just find a yokomen. Yeah. This way. Yeah. So just explore, really. I think it's a yokomen in general. Okay, good. And with the ski, you're going to make, again, the adjustment comes from the hip work. So when you make the yokomen, the cut like this. Now, when I make the ski, I'm going to open the hip up. So the dynamic similar to how you would do a ski with a jaw. So the hip work's very similar. I'm a little bit closer, but I'm basically in hito-emi. So this is like making the body small. So I'm not using the same hip work as I do for the yokomen, but I'm slightly adjusting the hip. So I'm opening the hips out a little bit more. So here, the back hip's a little bit more open this way. Hopefully you can see this way. But I'm not working in this kind of way. So my center's not kind of straight on and I'm pushing out, but I'm actually here in this position. So my body's actually on this side of the weapon here, this way. The same both sides. The yokomen, and then I open the hip up a little bit. Yeah. Body's actually all on the other side of the bokken. Yeah, this is kind of hito-emi. Give it a try. Yeah, great, good, nice. Super. No. So see, in this case, if you, this one, the ski, the power in the ski, or the structure is easier to find because I'm basically already in the back foot, yeah, and then I just press out from it. See, in this case, if you can kind of generate a bit more power through the thrust. So in the same way that you get a kind of fixing, you get this kind of shake in the hands. See if you can kind of access it here. Here. So something goes out of the weapon. But in this case, if I'm too high, you'll kind of just thrust. It will just kind of be a push. It will just be a push. But see if you can access a spiral. Here. So the force is still coming round, hips, hands, this way. But there's something that's going to kind of spiral in, which will give you the kind of signature wobble. Whoa, this kind of way. No? But if I'm just here, I just place it in. There's nothing really in the thrust. So see if you can go beyond the thrust. Here, this way. Yeah, and just focus on it here. The dynamics, easier to locate here, but easier to practice in the 7 Suburi. When we come to the 7, it gets a bit easier to practice. It's a bit clearer. Oh. 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 Nice. Oh, okay, good. So the last Suburi, we've actually not done it all week. So really great Suburi. So from here, find the Jodan Kamai, that's in a Yokomen, and now you thrust on the other side. So pressing into the front foot, spiraling into the ground, and skiing on the other side. In this case, a Yokomen on the right side, and a ski on the left. Yokomen. It's a great movement for the hip. So this, compression down, spiraling out into the hip. Yeah, give it a try. So Yokomen ski.
Just.
Ai. Oh. Ai. Oh. Ai. Oh. Ai. Nice. Okay, good. So just practice again in this case. Forget that it's a thrust. So in this case, just practice the dynamic in the hips, find the cut, and then just connect the sword into the hip work. What you're going to do is move the body in, and the sword comes in. What you're looking for in this case is a connection from the hip, between the hands, and just sinking the weight down, coiling and connecting into the weapon. This is a great movement for the hips, a very clear spiral through the hip work this way. But it really reach down as you do it. So feel like you coil into the ground and come into the ground. The slower, the better in this case. So just make the connection very clear between the hip and the two hands. Coil through with a spiral. Coil through with a spiral. You really feel a compression down and out. This way. Give it a try. Nice, very good. And then in terms of a kind of kokyu movement or relating to kokyu movement, really feel the backhand. In this case, this hand's really kind of coiling in this way. So there's really power in it coming this way from the back hip. This line from the foot, imagine it connects all the way up the arm this way and coils out. So it coils in this way. This way. It's a very strong spiraling movement with the hand. This. And there's really a sense of direction coming down the arm and right the way through the tip. Yeah, as if the sword is growing out of your hand or out of the forearm, actually. So it's kind of coming all the way out this way. So it kind of coils through this way. But imagine one line from the back shoulder all the way through the tip of the sword. And actually it's a line that comes through the ground. So one big arc through the ground this way. Yeah, and that's where your power comes from in this move. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh. Hey. Oh.
Michael?
Yeah.
It's Serena. I've got a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Just going back to the skiing and the hip, you know, when we said in the earlier Suburis where you land your hip first just momentarily before you cut. So with the ski, with any ski, do you land before the hip before you thrust, or is it at the same time? Yeah,
I'm basically gonna use the same dynamic all the time. So it's the same. The good news is like we always use the same dynamic. We never really change it. So we just practice one thing actually. So that's the good thing about Aikido. So when you do this one, I'm actually rolling in this hip and then pressing out here. So in this case, my foot lands, my hip presses in, and then the hands follow. In this case, works like this, and this way. Yeah. So it's a kind of, it's a just before the hips landing, and then I press out through it. Yeah. And then as I find that, the back hip lands and stabilizes me. Yeah, does that make sense? It's the same dynamic. The hip comes in, stabilizes, and then I thrust through it. Yeah. So you cut down, press in. When you do it fast, you can't really see it. So if you try to slowly, really landing weight and then pressing through that way. Yeah, give it a try. It's actually the same dynamic, just slightly harder to find. That's it, great. Yeah, good, Serena, good, 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 good. That's it. Nice. Good, Adrian, nice. Good, good. That's it. Okay, good. So those are the full 7. Well, what I want you to do now is just practice them freely, or basically just cut any direction, any kind of cut. Basically, your 3 patterns are shomen, yokomen, and a ski. Yeah, and just mix these up. So you've got shomen straight up, yokomen, and a ski. Yeah, and just mix them really freely, any direction. Yeah, you can also go into these Jodan Kamai positions. Yeah, and just really mix them up. Ski from the front foot, shomen, yokomen, ski from the back foot. Yeah, just really mix them up freely in your own manner, as you like. And also number 3 as well. So you can come into the kamai here, into waki kamai, breathing in. Oh. Oh. Good. And then what I want to do is just open those movements out now. So those are the basic patterns. We basically practice on a vertical strike, a diagonal strike, and a thrust movement forward. Now with those kind of basic kind of vectors, open them out a little bit more. So some of the movements we've done this week, these kind of way, and also striking low. Yeah, so kind of open the movements out, expand them. The other movement that you've got, we don't really practice, but is in the movement, is a slashing movement. So explore some other possibilities. So just open the basic patterns out. So making them slightly lower, making them slightly higher. These kind of positions. These are all coded in the basic movements. Just open the patterns out. So vertical, diagonal, thrusting movements. Yeah, just explore different body movements. Hey. Oh. Hey. Hey. Good. That's it. Nice. Okay, cool. Great. Good. Okay, just put the book onto the side. I want to finish with a little bit of Taijutsu. First down. We'll go through the basic patterns. So, Taina Henko, Murotodori. And then we'll look at a technique. So, first one, the Taina Henko. You take your time, find the ground, drain the weight down, find the extension, sink in and rotate. With a sense of cutting. So with a sense of having the bokken here, extension and grounded. Yeah, very clear. Keep the weight. Enter and point. Yeah, give it a try. Slow with the breath. Out. Out. Good. Oh, okay, good. I just want you to look at this. Hopefully you can see. Can you see this?
No.
You see the picture?
Yes.
Yes.
You see this picture? Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more. Da, 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 da. Wait a minute. You see?
Yeah.
Yes.
This picture. You know, if you've been to the Motril Dojo, we've got this on the wall. This is a great picture. I think it's one of my favorite pictures. But in terms of Taina Henko, if you look at it in terms of stability, extension, and grounding, and he looks really like a tree, and his fingers really spread, everything's extended, but also very relaxed. There's nothing rigid in it. So we use this as really inspiration in the dojo. So really look for this kind of quality. This is really clear in this picture. And also this is clear, this is in movement as well. So he's in movement and he's got this kind of stability. So this is incredible. So that's inspiration. Hopefully I can go back. Stop! Yeah! Okay, cool.
Let's get
Back to reality. Just really focus on that sense of rooting, grounding, but also relaxation. Super relaxation. Consistent stack. So just go ahead. And in the case of the hands at the end, have the sense that again the weight is underneath the. So there's a sense not of holding thing, but of the weight draining down the arm this way. So there's a sense. There's also a story like you can hold a water drop in the palm of the hand here this way. So as if you're kind of holding a drop of water in the hand. If I do these kind of things, it will roll off. If I do this kind of thing, it will roll off. So I have the feeling just this, and centering the. I basically have the feeling like the ground is in the hands. So my feelings like the hands are heavy. So my hips, my feet, and the ground are in the hands this way. Yeah, that's the kind of feeling. that you're looking for. Yeah. Good. Good. So we'll go to Marotodori, the same. First, really find the weight, sink, center, and then find extension. From here, both hands sink in, and then press up to the back this way. And again, really look for the ground. Take this slow. So extension, sinking in, coiling with the first spiral, and then spiraling out of the ground with the second. Yeah. Again, the ground, the hips, and the feet are in the hand. This kind of work. Yeah, give it a try. And coil. You take your time at the end, just to feel the weight. Hey. Hey. Oh. Hey. Hey.
Michael,
Yeah.
when you are in the middle of the movement, when you have your feet together, then you coil up and then you release again. Eh?
Yeah, well, in this case, I'll try and see if you can show the feet. Ooh. Spot. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the sense of the footwork, there's actually in this case you can do this in 3 steps. So pressing in here, all into the foot, and coiling here. Now as I make the transition, I slightly adjust this foot and I press all my weight down. My feeling is that my knee presses into the heel. And as I do that, it releases the other foot to allow for this second spiral this way. So you've got kind of 3 steps. You slide in, right here, and then press.
Slide.
Yeah, slide it slightly so that I can press the weight and then shift it back.
And then you shift it again.
Yeah, yeah, and then I adjust the back foot to basically accommodate the hips. So this foot, and then I slightly adjust this foot just to accommodate my hip. Otherwise, I end up in this kind of position.
Yeah.
Out, and I want to be more here in this kind
grounded,
of position.
centered.
Yeah, more grounded and centered. Yeah, and I make the connection. Yeah, good.
Okay, thanks.
Whoa. So. So the last one we practice, actually the exercise we end all the classes with, Suiwaza Kokyuho. You can do this on the ground if you like, to kind of access the hips this way, yeah, and then advancing in this way. But it's a bit easier. You've not got really soft tatami. Do it from the ground and just curl in this way, curl in and open it out. Yeah, it's actually a simpler movement. What you're practicing is gathering the weight, finding the extension, and then pressing through. In this case, It's a simpler move, but actually this way. So gathering, coiling, and then pressing through. Let's try this. So pressing and coiling. Yeah, that's the last thing. Really look for a kind of wave of energy passing from the ground into the hips and then through the hands. It's the basis of all the techniques we do, all the work we do, weapon work, body work, everything. Give it a try. Last thing. Hey. Hey. Oh. Good. So this, I think, is very hard to show. I'll try and show it. Or maybe like this. So in this case, you're being grabbed, you're being restrained. So what the tendency is to go to the arm and the hand and try and first start with the hand and pull with the arm. And this looks like something like this kind of work. The hand goes first. But in this case, you're being restrained here. I don't want to move the hand and I don't want to focus on the arm. I want to go to the hip and the body. It's actually the hip and the body is going to move this way. So you're going to go this, and then it reaches into the hand. I change the alignment and then I press through it. So see if you can kind of grab yourself. Don't go with the hand first. So don't do anything with the arm, but make the change, access the ground, change the hip, and then send it back into the hand. But work on the same structure that you do here. This way. Yeah. So this kind of dynamic that we're practicing in the weapons work all the time, ground, hips, hands, this really is useful. This is how you later kind of manipulate people in the techniques. Suwari-waza is the clearest technique to practice this. So relax the arm, go to the hip, and then send the hand out. So. Good. Yeah, and if you have an object at home like a ball, usually something bigger than this is better. But what I want to do is kind of change my relationship to the ball. I don't want to do is change it in the hands. I want to change it in the whole body. So I want to kind of change the relationship, get my weight underneath, and then press from this position. So it's changing your relationship here with the whole body. So you change everything and then you press out. But I don't just change one thing. I change everything, the whole body, and then I press out of it. Yeah? Just play the very last few minutes. This same kind of relationship, just really open the movement out now. So any kind of movement you can make, but look, ground, hit, hands. Ground, hit, hands. If you follow this structure, all the techniques will come out of this. So ground, hip, hands. You can focus just on one hand or two. Just really open the movement out. So coiling, rotating, stepping, really play with it. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so that's it from me for this week. Yeah, it's been really great. For me, it's been very enjoyable, super enjoyable. And also it's just a real pleasure to watch you all working. For me, maybe I'm not commenting on you individually, but I'm really watching you. And for me, it's really inspiring watching everyone moving. And yeah, you're all doing super, super great. So for me, it's very enjoyable just to watch you all. Well, most of this training is actually based on the work that I was doing, or the training we were doing in the mornings with Lewis. So actually, this is the kind of work we were doing all the time. So actually, hardly any partner work, hardly any kumitachi, mostly Suburi work and Taijutsu solo work. And Nakada will confirm she was there. So mostly it was solo work, Suburi, and Marcel too. So that was the kind of work we're doing. So this that we've been doing this week is really based on that kind of training. So yeah, and for me that's where the work really is. It's actually not in the partner work and it's in actually changing yourself around. And in the case of the weapon, it's using the weapon as a feedback on what I'm doing with my own body. So yeah, and the Suburi and all the work we do in that sense is really training the body. So training that simple pattern of like sourcing the power from the ground, directing it with the hips, and then transferring it out into the hand or the periphery. And that's always the case. So the weapons gives us a very clear tool to practice that. And we're very lucky to have a very clear system of solo work because some of us don't. So the weapons gives us a very clear guide to train that kind of dynamic. Yeah, okay, good. And the people that have been feeding back to me individually, I really enjoy it. So telling me what you experienced during the training is really cool. I really enjoy it. So if you feed back anything, it's really nice to hear. Yeah. Okay. Good. Any questions or anything or at all?
Thank you very much for offering it. Thank you very much for offering the morning sessions and of course the other sessions as well. I was only able to take part in the very first hour. But I noticed that just by focusing on all I call it the details, but then the big picture in the details, it really helps me to organize my body a bit more efficiently. And
good.
Yeah, I really have to admit that I really like the morning sessions because there's also the start of the day actually. Yeah. And it gets you focused also on the things you need to do actually. So beginning with this, getting your focus and attention to the ground, instead of directly rushing into the things that you need to do during the day. This really helps out a lot, and especially the details that you bring in it. This helps us as well, also for the rest of the day, but also for the evening classes.
Good.
And the solo practice that you can do in between.
Yeah, good, exactly. Yeah, good. For me, it's always the best feeling was starting the day with weapons training early in the morning. So that was always so my kind of goal was how do we maintain that during this time? How do we kind of access it? And for me, this is really the same feeling, totally the same feeling as we had in the mornings classes. So and then, for me, I want to also continue it. So
working together makes it easier to actually start this. So I really appreciate what you're doing in the morning.
Good.
And if possible, it would be really nice. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. You go. I talk too much.
I would really appreciate it if you would keep these morning classes open.
Okay, good. So also my idea, like in Japan, is that the weapons training happens in the morning, and then the Taijutsu in the evening. So you have kind of an hour of weapons in the morning, an hour of Taijutsu in the evening. And I'm trying to find ways how do we do that? And actually, this is a perfect way to do it. So in my mind, I'm very happy to continue with the weapons morning training. Totally. So just feedback to me like the right kind of time. For me, this is kind of a perfect time. But just feedback.
For me as well.
Maybe we change the morning time for the week. So and add more. For me, more training is good. So.
Maybe a little bit early for those of us in the UK.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So we'll try and adjust it. So, but just get back to me if you want to continue with the early mornings, then just let me know. I'm definitely happy to. So, for me, it's ideal to train in the mornings. So.
Michael, it's been great. It's been really great, and we look forward to seeing you in Motril at some point in the future.
Yeah, as soon as we can invite you all, we will. So,
it's been great.
Beers on me.
Also, Lewis said, would I write something for the next TAE newsletter, the summer edition?
Good.
Well, if I'd gone to Motril, I would have written a review of the seminar.
So, totally.
But we have had the seminar.
Yeah, in a way.
A review of it.
Good, do it.
I don't want that to be just my views. I would like to invite everyone.
Okay, cool.
Offer comments, including you yourself, Michael.
Okay, cool.
You know, what you enjoyed, what worked well, what didn't work well, what are the lessons learned, would we do it again? I definitely would.
Great, perfect. That sounds great. Yeah, and also one of the benefits in this is that we've got all the recordings. Yes. So really great. You can
you can review yourself.
You can review it, and you can review yourself. Ideally, I would have liked you could record yourself doing the whole thing, but I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, maybe it is. But for the future, but for me, it's really great. Like actually being able to go back and review the classes, and because it's nice to have it in the memory, but actually just to have it clearly a record of it, factual record of it's really a great thing. So good.
Maybe we can add all the damage to the household. Yeah, how many TVs were damaged?
That's why I was training outside.
Also, can I just say something? I just want to say thank you to Michael and everybody. I don't train with TAE, and I think it's amazing because when we started on Tuesday, I didn't know how to do any of the Suburis, and at the end now, I've at least got the basic form of the Suburis, which is just incredible. So it's the, your teaching's been really good, and I feel very supported by everyone, and that's brilliant. And I'm going to miss this class, but if we get the morning classes going, as you said, Mike, if I can, I'll definitely join it.
Good. Great. Well, that's good. Good to hear.
Michael, absolutely great training. Excellent. I'm overjoyed. Seriously. And frankly, I suggested the other group, like the same group, but the other one. I said, in summer we don't train, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Because there's always summer break. Can we continue in summer, despite Corona, no Corona, it doesn't matter. We could continue every year since now we have this. Yeah. So I think, if of course masters would like to do that, including yourself, we cannot force you for anything. But if you would like that, I would appreciate it. There is no words to express my gratitude. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thanks everyone. Also, thanks all for this really also really a commitment and dedication. Also, for you guys in the UK even more, getting up so early. I feel as well getting up in the morning. It's kind of so thanks all for and you all stuck together. So we've had the kind of same group over the week. So super great.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you, Michael.
Super.
Together because it was great.
Michael, maybe one word from Dortmund. There's another positive aspect in this coming together, because now we have it's online, but we have a community, and we can support each other and get positive feelings and emotions in this shitty situation. So I'm really thankful for this, and I agree to all things said. It was a wonderful and very intensive. So thank you very much.
Good. Well, you're very welcome. Super.
Great. Set us up for the day. Fantastic each day. Thank you.
Exactly. For me also, Aikido, I think it's Juan Ewan says, Aikido's like a dynamo. The more you train it, and especially mornings, the more you train it, the more energy it gives you. So the more you get out of it, the more you train it, the more it will give you. So for me, this is clear. This is super clear. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So there's a class with Arian, I think. There's been a few messages in the WhatsApp group, so I think there's a class with Arian 11, so 10.
11?
10.
No, sorry, 10.
Yeah.
My fault.
40 minutes.
9.
40 minutes.
In like 40 minutes, so. So, yeah, join that. That'll be a kind of nice round off. And then, yeah, I'll be in touch this weekend. And, yeah, just let me know about times and we'll adjust the schedule to kind of suit everyone.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
That would be
Okie dokie. We'll take a last bow. And
See you
then,
later. Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
oh, no, we bowed. Yeah? I don't
No,
I
we
can't.
didn't.
Yeah? Okay, thank you very much. Bye.